So if you want to really succeed in this business, as a self-publisher, as an author, as anybody doing any type of publishing, you got to learn from the best. You need to model those that are successful if you want to be successful as well. We're going to be talking about all that in today's video, so make sure that you stay tuned. This is Self-Publishing with Dale, and if you want to learn how to publish books that sell, make sure that you hit that little subscribe button and turn the bell notifications on. That way you don't miss a single one of these videos. And today's broadcast, I want to give a big shout out to the sponsors of the month, Vexels.com. Yeah, Vexels actually is a graphic illustration design company. It has over 100,000 different graphic designs, and you have so many to choose from. You can use it for your interiors, you can use it for your book covers, heck, you can even use it for your merchandise. Here's the really cool thing. They've got 3 different types of plans. I got the Pro plan, there's the Merch plan, and there's the Business plan. With the Pro plan, and each one of those thereafter, you can actually custom order a design specifically for your business. So rather than going and buying Fiverr, you can actually go to Vexels and get it done from the best in the industry. So to do that, please make sure that you head on over to my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/Vexels. Again, that's dalelinks.com/Vexels. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and fire off right into things if you want to be successful. And I know that you do. You're going to want to learn from the best. And these are some of the best books that I've put together. So here we go. I'm going to put it in order of what I prefer. If there's a particular book that you really have enjoyed, I want to hear from you inside the comments. Number 10, we're going to start it out with Write, Publish, and Repeat by Sean Platt and Johnny Truant. This one here actually came suggested to a friend of the channel, and he's actually been here numerous guest appearances, Johnny Andrews. Johnny had recommended this one to me, and I picked it up. And at first I was a little bit like thrown off because I was expecting it to kind of really focus on just a more global scale of writing and publishing, but it's a bit more specific to fiction authors. Not to say that you as a nonfiction author can't pull something from this, but it's a fantastic read. It's really in depth, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Sterling and Stone. It's actually a podcast as well as a YouTube channel where they talk about the art of writing and publishing. These 2 guys, actually, there's 3 altogether that wrote this book, really are prolific authors, and they've really blazed the trail for us. So I recommend you get that inside your Christmas list before it's too late. Alrighty, so number 9, we're gonna go ahead and fire this one off. Secrets, all right, of the 6-Figure Author. So this one actually is by Tom Corson Knowles. Now the green screen unfortunately removed his book because it's green. But all that to say that this is an old one here. This was probably released about 2 or 3 years ago. And Tom really pulls out all stops, gives some great recommendations. I read that one a couple of times. A lot of really good golden nuggets in there. Nothing else I can really add to that outside of the fact it's Tom Corson Knowles. If you don't know who that is, he actually owns and runs TCK Publishing. It's a small publishing house. And if you are an author that is looking for some type of a small publishing house deal, you may want to reach out to TCK Publishing. But nonetheless, that's not an advertisement for them. I'm just kind of saying they're a good company. All right, let's go ahead. Next one up here. Book Launch by Chandler Bolt. I actually just did a collaboration with Chandler Bolt of the Self-Publishing School. And this book was released in early 2015. And it's been some time since I actually had read it last. And I got to say that Chandler is just such a good guy. He's a great guy. He gives very sensible advice. And Book Launch is probably one of my favorites on this list because it was one of the first ones that I sat down to really consume and try to learn all about the art of self-publishing. All right, next one up. I've actually talked about this one before. This is actually by Brian Cohen. It's called How to Write a Sizzling Synopsis. Now, if you are finding yourself stuck on writing a killer Amazon book description, Brian Cohen demystifies this whole process. You might know Brian Cohen because he is, first of all, a prolific author. He's written nonfiction and fiction. He's also a speaker, and he's also the co-host of the show, Sell More Books Show podcast. Big fan of the show, and if you don't subscribe to them yet, please do yourself a favor. You will like that. And this book is just stellar. So level up your Amazon descriptions by reading this book. Next book up in this is going to be How to Write a Nonfiction Book in 21 Days by Steve Scott. Now, Steve is kind of my hero of self-publishing. Really, absolutely loved his stuff. When I came into the business, I was listening to some of his micro podcasts he was putting out on his website. And then he ended up partnering together with Barry Davenport. The two of them put together Authority Self-Publishing. They have since not really released any content on there. I think the two of them kind of went their separate directions and for their own self-publishing brands. But this one is also kind of like where Chandler Bolt, where I'd read Book Launch back in 2015. Same thing goes for How to Write a Nonfiction Book in 21 Days. Now that might have been like closer to like late 2015, maybe early 2016. Stellar. And it's not just hype. This is information I actually employed and had used, and to great success. Recommend you put this one inside your catalog. Next one up. This one right here, I got to tell you, I'm a little bit biased. It's Don't Write a Crappy Book. You've seen it hanging out over in the background. It's by a good friend of the channel, James Ranson. And James actually interviewed dozens of the experts in the self-publishing industry, and oddly enough, he lumped me right in with some of them, and there's some really great quotes inside here. Fantastic read, and it's not just sitting here, like him, preaching high above you and such and lording over you. He's actually giving some great sensible advice, and it's not just like, don't write a crappy book. Okay, there's actually bit by bit and some lessons, and actually altogether there's 17 mistakes he's going to help you avoid and how you can really help yourself in becoming a great writer instead of having a writer with crappy books. So really recommend Don't Write a Crappy Book. That one's a great one. Next one up, I'm going to cheat on this one here. I'm going to actually do a full series. It's Books for Writers series by Joanna Penn. And the entry book that I read was Successful Self-Publishing. Great read. Some of the content in that particular publication is a little dated. I think she might have referenced CreateSpace at one point or another. But again, it's just think about the principles and the fundamentals and apply it to your publishing business today. She just released the book 10 in the series, and she's going to be releasing book 11 on audiobooks, I think in March 2020. Recommend check out all of Joanna Penn's stuff. She actually has the Creative Penn podcast, not just on YouTube, but every major podcasting platform, including Apple. That's where I consume it at. Next one up to bat is going to be another series. I know I'm cheating on this one. I said just the books, but I'm going to actually go with Write Faster, Write Smarter by Chris Fox. And the one that actually got me hooked into this whole series was Write to Market. If you find yourself at a bit of a impasse where you're really not sure what niche you should be publishing in, Chris kind of helps you understand how to find that niche that you should be writing in and how to really study it and how you can write towards that particular audience. So Write to Market's fantastic. I would say, gosh, and a close second would be his 5,000 words or more series. So definitely take a look at his Write Faster, Write Smarter series. 9th book in this here. This actually just got done reading the series. It's actually the Prosperous Writer series. It's by Honore Corder and Brian Meeks. These 3 books, I'm going to tell you, you'll probably be able to read this in the course of a day. They're short reads, and they've compiled all of those together in one nice little thing. I know my wife just ordered herself the print version of that. Really good advice, very sensible. I love the snarkiness of Brian Meeks balanced out with the playful professionalism of Honore Corder. And the Prosperous Writer series, I believe, is something, if you're a writer, grab this book or this series. It will definitely be well worth it. Alrighty, before we do go on, I just want to let you know, of course, we're going to be taking a small break here at the end of the year, but we're going to be picking back up in January. And so you're going to want to make sure you join me every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at dalelinks.com/live. That's over on YouTube, starting January and moving forward. And of course, you're going to want to make sure you join me for the podcast recording every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/self-publish. You can actually subscribe for free with your Amazon Prime membership. You can find out how to do that at dalelinks.com/twitchprime. Alrighty, 10th book. Boy, we've been cooking on all cooking on the front burner as well as running on all cylinders. Here we go. Last one, and I've saved the best for last because this right here, I've probably read the book 3 times and I've recommended it numerous times. It is Mastering Amazon Descriptions by Brian Meeks. Now, there's actually 2 books that he's written. One's Mastering Amazon Ads, and that's a good book. I feel like he nailed it with Mastering Amazon Descriptions. In fact, since I've implemented quite a bit of his strategies on a good few of my books more recently, I've seen a better return on some of my investments when it comes to Amazon ads. So take a look at Mastering Amazon Descriptions by Brian Meeks. This one, I even my one-on-one coaching students, I always required them to have this in their library. And I'm just gonna recommend to you that if you're ever kind of saying, my books aren't selling, first of all, focus on your cover. But the next thing is, get yourself a copy of Mastering Amazon Descriptions by Brian Meeks. This thing is a game changer. It has a ton of case studies in there. A lot of it's focused on fiction, and he has a couple on nonfiction. But remember, it's all about the principles and the fundamentals. So even if you are a fiction or nonfiction author, or even a no-content book publisher, take these little tips that he puts throughout this book, you can easily read within a couple of hours, and start putting it into practice. All right, as I had said at the beginning of the broadcast, if you want to take a look at those books, you can actually help support the channel by going on down into the description down below. There is a link that goes over to my Amazon Influencer store, and buy yourself a copy, help support the indie author community. It is greatly appreciated, never expected. I'm finishing out at nearly 22,000 subscribers, over 1 million views, and over 5.5 million minutes watched. 5.5 million minutes watched. Say that 10 times fast. So I want to thank you very much. Hey, if you want to learn more about YouTube and self-publishing,